4, 3.
We'll do it live!
Now we're live! Erin Kennedy. The general craziness of it, the impact on your life.
We have gone through so many stories and we said, you know what? This should not be kept to the two of us. Hi, Megan.
Okay, but check your wait list. Are we in?
Let's see. I thought I was cool, but I'm never cool fast enough. No.
You're cool, but on a wait list.
I've been added to the wait list. So I was asked to try Bard, which is the new Google AI. And so we were going to do a quick little thing where we were like, hey, is it easy to be a TV news anchor or meteorologist? And write a newscast for me. But
because honestly, I think that's what we should actually talk about then today, Erin. And when you get a chance to get off the wait list and onto the reel, we can try it. But like, people are saying now that newscasters, weather people, that's one of the professions that could easily be removed and replaced by AI.
I'm glad you're bringing this up. I will bring this up. We have a lot to talk about, even though we thought we had nothing to talk about. I apologize in advance for my state of self.
Mine's not that great either. I've done only my eyes today, and I've skipped the rest of my face.
You look beautiful.
No. And I got my hair did, so it's left over from yesterday. But whatever, this is real life. Go ahead, Erin. What were you going to say?
Well, I'm going to pull up this link to an AI news anchor. They are using them in China, though. So I think that's kind of spooky. But while I pull that up, I've debated sharing this or not. You know how obsessive I am with eyebrows, right? So
I'll get texts just so you guys know how obsessive Erin is with eyebrows. I will literally get texts with screen grabs of people where Erin's like about ready to have a conniption fit because the eyebrows are so bad. Like, I think she might need to be like placed in treatment facilities based on the intensity of the reaction about eyebrows.
I think you're right. It is a complex. It is certainly a complex. I do recognize it though. So I don't know if that makes me treatable or not. Like, I recognize I have a problem. So anyway, though, let's just start by saying this. Lots of hair, right? Erin's a hairy gal. So I have recently stopped trimming my eyebrows.
Okay.
Have you heard of eyebrow lamination?
Yes.
So that's why I'm like, maybe I should laminate my eyebrows.
Okay.
But I feel like if I didn't cut them and I laminated them because it says don't cut them for lamination, that they would be long. See?
I have seen, yes. I mean, you would see all of that, but that's like a look.
Right.
I don't know how you would feel about that look. Would you like that look?
I don't think I would. I think I would take a screen grab of myself and send it to you and be like, what's wrong with this lady?
Yeah. I literally thought about doing it for a hot second. I had like a phase where I was like, ooh, maybe I'll like dye my eyebrows so they're darker. And it looks horrible the first day. And then like day 2, 3, you're fine. And then it looks good. And then it fades, obviously, So I was like, oh, maybe I should laminate them. But then I kept looking at pictures and I was like, I will literally hate that if I see all the.
I want you to do it so that you can, I feel like you're always an early adopter and I want you to do it.
We're already late, by the way. I think it's been going on for a while.
Alana wanted us to pretend we were old, right? And we were like, who's pretending, you guys? I'm not cool. I've never said I'm cool.
No, I am not cool. I've never been cool, literally, like ever. It's just not a thing I am. But I feel like we're already late to the lamination phase, and I think I would hate it.
Okay, did you ever get feedback about your eyebrows on TV news?
No. Did you?
No, I did not. But I do look back at some stuff, and I'm like, those are too dark. And do you remember when we were auditioning makeup artists and I erroneously told them I like a strong brow?
Yes.
Never tell a makeup artist you like a strong brow unless it's somebody you really trust. Yeah.
You cannot say strong brow because I feel like your definition of strong brow is not the same as this individual's definition.
There was a real discrepancy in a definition of strong brow for sure. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show. It's pulled up.
How did we get to brows? Were you going to tell me about the brows?
I was debating telling you that I'm not going to cut them for a while and I just want to see where they go.
I'm just going to tell you as we move along how I feel about it. I'm going to evaluate.
See, I
Everyone
always
else feel free to do the same.
I have to like slick these guys down because they like to
But-
curl out.
Okay. And you want this part to be up.
Do I? That's what I'm asking, Megan.
I don't know. I mean, it's the more like look right now. You know what I mean? Like the more
Yeah.
like
I do look
care
at those
about my eyebrows,
contemporary
but I really
eyebrows.
care about my eyebrows.
I look at some contemporary eyebrows on TV and I'm like, those are distracting me. I can't even listen to what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
But I'm a real judgmental bee. And as I get older, I recognize.
I mean, I'm not getting better. I'm getting more judgmental. Go ahead.
So this is what we will ask Bard. What is the future of TV news, considering there are now AI anchors? And China is using AI anchors. But
Is
for
that
the
one right
purpose,
there?
no, for the purpose of our conversation right now, this is an English speaking one. So let's listen to this.
Okay.
And like there's only like little tells, which is just how the mouth moves, I feel, right?
Okay, so hold on. This is not a real person. This is AI right now that we're going to watch for everyone
that
at
is
home.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Wait. Why don't I hear it?
You have to hit the
Oh,
there you go.
okay.
There you go. There you go.
Lana, look at me. I'm old. I don't know how to do things.
Hello, everyone. This is Wolf News. I'm Alex. There have been more than 600 mass shootings in the United States this year, which means there is an average of more than one mass shooting every day, and gun violence has killed nearly 40,000 people. Hello, everyone. This is Wolf News. I'm Alex.
Okay, so clearly the crux of this article was, deep fake videos, which we've all, heard of before, right?
Oh, yeah.
And how you can easily purport that something was on the news or was real, but it's really just AI that's doing it. But that being said, China is using it just to like deliver the news.
Okay, so here's the thing that I would say about what we just watched, and then there's so much more we can say about the AI. Like we can just go into like what actual people bring to the table versus what that would be. However, I feel like it was obvi fake at the beginning, but then when they took the package, then I felt like you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell. So like when they put for everybody at home, when you started not seeing his face and it started to be the story about Sandy Hook, then I was like, well, is this another one?
Here's one more, and I feel like her face looks faker. Oh, jeez. Can't you just keep my settings, guys?
We're going to ask Bard, how can we get Erin to hit the volume before she...
After 3-hour talks, the two heads of state exchanged candid and in-depth views on
those words
strategic
don't
issues in China-U.S.
we're in
relations
that
and major global and regional issues.
But to me, it's wild that voice, isn't even real.
But again, once they took the video, then I felt like, okay, that was not horrible. Like it wouldn't be as jarring. But that's the stuff. Okay, so like I'm just hitting my stuff. My nails are a disaster. Like I'm a disaster today. My nails are so bad. I need to get them done. I just went like this and I was like, oh God, people saw it.
Okay, if I'm showing my eyebrows, I want to see your nails.
Can you even see?
You have a lot of grow out, is that it?
Dude,
Oh,
and
no,
they're like
clipped.
flipping off.
Yeah.
There's like not nail polish on half of it. So back to what I was saying though.
Together.
You guys are like way behind the curtain today.
They're trying to leave.
All the way behind. So, okay though, like the part where you as a anchor would have added more value would have been leading into the package and coming out of the package. The package itself is already done, already read. So like for all intents and purposes, when you're looking at a package on TV, which is that story has sound bites and all that stuff, that could be AI, but someone still needs to collect that information. But that part could be AI and it wouldn't be the end of the world.
So what it would probably be, I would assume if there were a human in that assembly line of information, it would be a producer, right? A writer who would then plug in those words and then the AI chatbot human would say them.
To me, you could have packages like that all day long, as long as somebody was doing the right thing to write the package, like as long as the information was accurate. But if you had an entire newscast of that, you would be missing out on conversation. You would be missing out on insight. You would be missing out on a human connection, because clearly that is not going to be there with that.
You're going to miss out on institutional knowledge, right? So if you as an anchor are able to provide context, that's to me what separates the men from the boys anyway,
Yeah.
right? Do you recognize the history of this story and maybe any tension that you should know about, hopes and dreams, etc.? I don't know if we've chatted about this before though, Megan. This may blow your mind.
Does it have to do with eyebrows?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
There was a while ago where, you could have a conversation and ask which jobs are safe from outsourcing. And you would have thought that you could say, well, reporting, right? Because you would always need to go to a human and get the information and soundbite and this and that. Well, of course, now every city council meeting is streamed. And so they now can outsource covering city council meetings, etc., to people in India or many other countries who can sit there and log and get a soundbite and write a story and give it back to the station. So that kind of surprised me. It really is incredible how technology and the internet has been able to change news. And I do wonder how AI will continue to change it. And
I agree.
For the better.
I mean, even think about when we all got sent home, basically during COVID, and all of a sudden, but we still needed to turn news stories. Well, so what did those interviews look like then? Okay, well, interviews that used to be at that person's house, or you would travel to it, or you'd be live on the scene or whatever, all of a sudden we're just like what we're doing here right now. So then it's not as special as it was. It doesn't provide the like visual context. You just have a person and maybe you get to see like their living room or something like that.
Zoom, yeah. And to be honest, that hasn't gone away, and I don't see it going away. Because reporters are being asked to do so much more. And when I can just say, hey, log onto your computer, let's meet here and have an interview. And guess what? Zoom logs it. It transcribes every word with time code. That is a huge time saver.
Huge time saver, because for those of you at home that do not know, used to be before all this stuff where you would go out and shoot, 3 hours worth of video to turn maybe a feature piece or something like that. And that piece is going to be, as Erin said, about 1.5 minutes, but you don't know which sound bites you want to use or which parts. And so someone, if you weren't lucky enough to like offhand just kind of know what you wanted to throw in and do it and be done, like if you're going to do real justice to it, you would log an entire 3 hours worth of video. Chances are we were handing that off to an intern. Very rarely did I log.
Oh, I rarely had an intern log when I was reporting.
Okay. See, well, I didn't really report until I got to New York, and then there were pretty much always interns I can hand it off to.
No,
you
were fancy. You were immediately fancy.
So no, I was just immediately fancy as it what came to reporting. Weather, that was not fancy for many years.
Right. What we would do as a reporter in the field, especially when you're under a tight deadline. So you would essentially get your story assignment at maybe 10 a.m. If you're in the early shows, which is the 5 or the 6, you really have to have the package done by 2. That was always my goal, because then that would give you enough time for the reporter to log, write, edit, get it to the photog, set up the live shot, and you have to be tuned in and ready to go. Then write your live intro and your live tag for the 5. So we played soundbite roulette. So you would go to an interview, you would, do a 20-minute interview, and you would have already written like the bones of your package, like a rough outline. And then it would be like, all right, press play, stop, and plug it in, soundbite roulette, and play and stop.
Erin, that is the way I did darn near all of my feature stuff, because I had very little time and I didn't get as many resources because it wasn't like considered news. It was more like feature stuff. So it was pretty much just me pounding and getting that stuff down. But like, I just would write the whole thing. And then sometimes I would ask the questions that would fill in the holes of the story I'd already written. Yeah. Because I knew it wasn't going to be like groundbreaking where I'm finding out anything major. It's like we were reviewing a movie. Okay. Like right. You kind of can do that without having something done beforehand.
Which this comes back to what you learn in TV news and what Megan and I still can't untangle from our DNA, which is we will get something to you on time.
Yes.
It
may
might not be
perfect.
Might not be
It's done.
perfect, but it's going to be done. Right?
Better than perfect, it's done is
Better
my
than
life
good.
motto.
Better than good, it's done.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. It's not even perfect. Better than good. And half the time, that's all anyone's doing anyway. They just take forever to do it. So if you can be like early and get stuff done right away, you can just keep moving down the pike, like just action is better than thinking forever in a day,
Right.
you know?
And also too, when you're just going to do the same thing tomorrow, you're not really married to whether or not that story is going to win an Emmy.
No, and I thought about that the other day, like, as I'm thinking about like now, like I'm building basically a product and we're seeing things change and we're seeing things evolve and we're seeing like, we're moving closer to where we want to be. That kind of thing is happening. And it's like you're building something. In TV news, you're not really building anything. You're just every day you have a deadline and you get it done.
Every day is a
You get
wheel.
it done.
Yeah.
That's right. So I think I don't know, like back to the AI like whole thing. I remember we had a promo, and I think it was in Chicago, where they were like, what is the difference between you and somebody picking up their phone and checking what Apple says about the weather? And
I
my
remember
answer
that.
is
Yeah.
the same now as it was then, which
Yeah.
is you can get the temperatures, you can get when it's going to start to rain, but what you do not get is the context, like you said, that someone might understand about why this stuff is happening, what could change based off different things that could happen in the environment, and also like that little bit of, as you said, institutional knowledge of like, we haven't had rain in 47 days, and this is going to mean that, we're going to have some runoff. There may be some flooding, like that kind of thing. You don't get like the whole picture, but because we all want stuff so fast now, I don't even know if people expect the whole picture anymore. Like, I feel like there are plenty of people who would be totally fine with only getting their weather and their news from like an AI bot and off their phone. Think they would be fine with it. I do.
Yeah. I wonder. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. And I think there are a lot of people who also wouldn't. And so then there's people like Mosh, who I've talked about before. Okay, like he has started a now wildly popular Instagram account. They have a podcast, like, he's got a whole thing going on now. He was even, interviewed in the New York Times and recognized in Washington, all kinds of stuff. Okay, like he is building something brand new.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's doing is interesting to me because it's the opposite of a bot, basically. Like he is curating all the news based off what he would have been doing and did do for CBS News for many years as the executive producer of like the evening news, right? All the things he was reading, all the things he was doing. Then you would sit in a meeting and you'd pick out a couple of them, and that made the 21 minutes minus commercials. That was the evening news show, right? Well, now he's taking all of that and posting it up onto his Instagram. So a lot of it's posts, but I have noticed that when he goes live, it's very like all institutional knowledge, all history, all background. Like he'll talk about what's going on in the Middle East, but like with history that goes back to, like BC, so that's the stuff that people are hungry for, that kind of stuff. But guess what isn't and hasn't been on the evening news ever, if certainly not in the last 20 something years? That you don't get that deep into anything because there's not enough time.
Right.
It's like,
Well, and it used to be too that if you had to turn a story from somewhere outside of the country, it literally had to travel on a tape. That information had to get, on a plane or a boat or whatever, and then it had to get mailed, and then it had to get to somebody, and it went through so many different filters that time had passed. You could have context, thoughtful consideration about a lot of the people who had touched it already or logged it and seen what it was. And now with everything being instantaneous, what you get is what is happening immediately, but without any filter and without any context.
Yeah. And so that's the interesting thing to me, because especially like when the Ukraine war started, that whole situation, I found an account, which I thought was a valid account, but I wasn't sure. I don't think I shared it or whatever, but I was watching it. And then I realized at some point, like, wait, who's running this? Like there were hundreds of thousands of people following this account. I don't think there was any validity to a lot of the stuff that was posted on there, or it was things from another war somewhere else many, many years ago. They happen to have a video for it. It makes it look better, and it's pushing that narrative out there, or whatever it may be. Not to say that horrible things weren't happening. We know they were, but not everything that was posted on that account was real.
Right. And it's interesting now because when you enable the masses to kind of report from the ground, of course, I think that has huge value add, but then it puts the onus on the audience and the viewers and the listeners to vet. Whereas it used to be like, I trust Peter Jennings, right?
Yes. And if you're going to be hired by a network, an ABC, CBS, NBC, whatever, you are held to a standard of trying to be as objective as you possibly can. Like we all know that sometimes that doesn't always happen, right? But you're trying and you're striving for it, at least. Most people are. So you can trust that most of the stuff would be at least hopefully not that way. Now, cable news changed a lot of that. Like we all know that made things a little bit different. But if you're going to talk about the networks, they're still trying to do that, right? But you're right. You got some guy down the street. He's got an agenda probably because this is his street and this is his area and he's being attacked by whomever it is or whatever the story is. And it's just not. I don't know that people in this day and age take enough time to figure out if things are real and think enough about what it is they're seeing. So,
I'm just going to use this moment to do a shameless plug for our interview with Georgia Fort, who decided to leave the newsroom because the stories that she wanted to tell were not being told by newsrooms and her bosses didn't want to tell them. Still one of my favorite interviews that we've done yet. So
yeah, that was a good one. I loved that. And I don't know where news goes now. Like I don't very often watch the news anymore. I don't watch local news anymore. And I am now in the place where we would have been on the other side of it. Like, well, we have to cover the murders. We have to cover the, city council meetings. We have to, well, now here I am, not in that area. It's not that I don't care that those things have happened. I'm just not going to sit and watch a half an hour of that. I'm interested in what I'm interested in, and I can kind of curate my own experience now by looking for things. I, though, and you have a background enough to sort of vet these sources a little bit, whereas like there's a lot of people who got no clue what they're looking at, and they believe it all.
Right.
Like, I don't know. But for the AI thing, Erin, like it's very creepy to me. They're doing this in China, like on their network, you're saying?
I think so.
Okay, that's super.
I don't know, Megan. I just read the headlines. I don't really need to know anything.
AI.
I just checked my email though to make sure that I wasn't off the wait list. Sorry, guys. I take too long to do everything.
It's fine, Erin. You'll get on one of these days. When you're off the wait list, we'll do this again.
Sounds good. All right, my friend. It's a fun little chat.
Now, were we real or not? Are we AI?
AI would not look like this.
AI would have on makeup.
AI would be much more put together.
AI would not have a piece of hair sticking up and no makeup on.
Your hair
that is
nice,
accurate.
You got it did recently?
What?
You got your hair did recently?
Yesterday.
Looks great.
Well, I put it darker in here, and what's gonna happen is what happened was she's gonna it's gonna like fade a little bit up here, more blonde will pop through. I think it's gonna be what I like. It's a little jarring right now, but I'm okay with it. It's fine.
Okay. All right.
We're good. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. I'm just ready for summer, man.
I'll be tracking your eyebrows.
We are at the eighth snowiest winter in Minnesota right now.
What? It was 10th earlier this week. Did you get more snow?
I was wrong. I was not updated. And
you're listening to AI.
113 days of snow cover on the ground.
Erin.
Yeah. Feel sad for me, please.
That's pain. I mean, it's painful. The snow is awful. However, I don't know if you have sunshine, but I am looking outside at just like pure gray clouds, which it has been.
It's gray now too. Yeah.
What feels like many days.
Yeah.
Now, the crazy thing is we had the easiest winter. And I saw that like across parts of the eastern US, they had like very little snow, if not like trace amounts in places where they typically have 10, 12, 15 inches per year. So, think a little bit farther south. Everybody had a pretty light winter, minus Erin and minus California. But now it's still like it's winter out there right now. Like typically we'd start to get some sunshine, a little bit of something. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Things are
I'm going to call you for context, Megan.
Yes, I have context out the butt. I usually had too much context, which
Can
was
you get
shut
a
up,
t-shirt with that
Megan.
on it?
I have too much context.
I have context out the butt.
I should have that shirt.
You should.
You know, should we start a store, Erin, of TV news people t-shirts and sweatshirts?
We are, remember how many we made in the can for things that we wanted for like our overnight news team?
Oh my God. Because we were just like stuck sitting there for hours. We probably went onto that custom ink website and made
Yeah.
7,000 shirts, none of which we ever had printed.
We will not go quietly into the night was one of them. That's a whole other story. That wasn't a line from us. That was a line from a viewer.
Yes.
What was the one? It's like riding a bike into a burning barn.
Yes. Feel like I'm riding a psychotic horse into a burning stable,
Yeah.
which is how we felt
Most
many days.
All right.
That's
Our
something
wrap,
I felt
Erin and
well.
Megan.
We're going to add another one. Action, not perfection. That's my new motto. Just get her
There you
done.
go.
Just
Or another one was we'll fix it in post, which never happened.
no.
All right. Bye, Megan. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
See you later.